Today, the Church celebrates the feast of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Lack of explicit mention of the privilege of the Assumption as such in the New Testament notwithstanding, tradition and sound theological reasoning indicate its implicit revelation in the Scriptures. In the Old Testament, the singularity of Mary as the woman was declared as a being through whom the redemption promised would become a reality. The New Testament declares the fact of that redemption, and the Blessed Virgin was full of grace and could not be perfect as God had foretold, unless she remained incorruptible. Rightly then, Saint Germanus of Constantinople wrote that Mary's virginal body is an altogether holy and chaste dwelling for God and can never know dissolution into dust. The tradition of the Assumption was already proclaimed as early as in the year 749 by Saint John Damascene. Mary conceived without detriment to her virginal modesty, brought forth her Son without pain, passed hence without decay, according to the word of the angel, or rather, God speaking by the angel, that she might be shown to be full, not half full of grace, wrote Pope Alexander III. In the year 1568, Pope Pius V made the Feast of the Assumption a holy day for the entire Church. The doctrine's development is closely related to a feast devoted to Mary that passed from a general celebration in her honor to one celebrated on the 15th of August, commemorating her dormition or falling asleep. When this feast, which originated in the Byzantine Empire, probably in the 5th century, came into the Western Church, the term Dormition was replaced by Assumption. This reflected an increased theological emphasis on the glorification of the complete person of Mary, that is, of her body as well as her soul, anticipating the state promised to be the rest of humankind. Incidentally, Christians have always held that Mary is the Mother of God, that from the very first moment of her existence, sin had no hold over her, that always ready to do God's will as His handmaid, she held the most important place in the history of redemption, only next to that of her Son. Indeed, since Christ, the way, the truth, and the life, Himself has said, "Where I am, there shall be my servant also." Consequently, it was only after He had sought and obtained from the world's bishops a formal assessment as regards the sentiments of the people in each diocese that Pope Pius XII defined the dogma of the Assumption as a doctrine of faith in his encyclical Munificentissimus Deus on the 1st of November 1950. Today, the new Holy Ark, who conceived the Creator of the world in her womb, comes to rest in the temple of God Himself. Today, the Church rejoices in the exaltation of the humble handmaid of the Lord. Indeed, God the Almighty, who has done great things for Mary, as declared by her in the Magnificat, has now done the greatest of all great things for her. Truly, the Assumption has been well described as Our Lady's Easter, for on this day we celebrate not only her passing from this life, but also her resurrection and ascension into heavenly glory, whereby she shares fully in the triumph of the risen Lord. In the light of this perception, the Magnificat can be best understood as Mary's own testament of faith, a testament that dares us manifest the depth of our own faith, a faith that challenges us to look inward. As the Holy Father, Pope John Paul II says, each of us has to look at his or her own life with the eyes of Mary. What He did in her, He did for us, and therefore He did it as in us. Rightly then, on this feast, the greatest of Mary's feasts, the Church Universal with one voice joins Mary in exalting holy his name.